Hi, everybody. It's Lisa Helton and
Sheryl Nicholson.
we're coming with Progress in Pajamas to you this morning. Let's talk about the books we've been reading. One of the things that during this terrible time we're all kind of trapped in. One of the things we could do is bring good from the situation and do some things we've always been wanting to do. Now, I'm always reading several books at a time, but what's great about this is I can actually progress through them. Obviously, it's a given that I read my Bible every day, and a lot of times when I start out in the morning, I will listen to my Audible library, right? I will go out and play off of Alexa my chronological Bible on Audible. I'll say, Alexa, play my 1 year chronological Bible, and it takes off where I left off. So I listen to the Bible every day and then I read. But I love books and I like to read all kinds of books. So I'm interested to hear what you're reading right now, Sheryl. Do you read a bunch at once, or do you finish one and then pick up the other?
I'm not an avid reader. I listen to podcasts. In fact, I met this woman. It's so hilarious. Friday at the podcasters thing, she has a podcast called Boring Books to Go to Sleep.
What?
And the first book, yes. And the first book is the 1937 Sears catalog. And so she reads it so you can go to sleep. She has a really monotone voice like this so that you can go to sleep instead of taking the sleeping pill. It's hilarious. So that's why I don't read, because it puts me to sleep. But I have an incredible library. I recommend books all the time. And I do read, but I don't read like most people don't read front to back, but I'll speed read and then I definitely highlight. I love to highlight because it's funny. It's like the Bible. You read something and it does, you read through it, and then a year later you read it and you were like, wow, it means something completely different. So I do that with my regular books too. I like to highlight and then go back and read. So yeah, wow. I've got 3 books here to share with you.
Okay. Good.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Well, I was just going to comment on the strategy of reading. So one of the things I write in my books, and I put, if you look at this is one of them. I don't know if you can see.
I can.
I write in here things that I want to remember and use, because I'm also a writer. And I like to pick up ideas from other writers and what they do. And then, so I will have, I get the concept of the book and I summarize it myself, not what the foreword is and not what the introduction is, but what is this book to me and what's the use of it for me, because I read so much. I mean,
that's great.
And so I put this right here. So this book that I'm reading here, this is called Aspire. Discovering your purpose through the power of words. Now, if you notice, my cover's missing because this is one of the books that I've been handling a lot, and so the cover kind of gets in the way. So I create my own Post-its and everything. And then what I'll do is write my summary at the beginning, or write the content that I'm giving, okay? And then I will put, now that we're into this hashtag deal, I will put my hashtags or my tweetable items on a page together, and I'll put what page it's on. Reason being is I categorize subjects when I'm writing. This is how I do it.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it used to be that I would keep file folders with file cards, and then when everything moved, you guys don't know this, millennials, but there was a day that we did not have all this technology. So we would use files and files and files, and but now everything's electronic. So I can search a topic. After I finish my book, I'll type these things in, and sometimes along the way, and then that'll come up, and that's how I get all my quotes and my references for everybody really quick when I'm writing.
Okay, so that's why you're doing it, so you can reference that in your books.
Well, and just because
Is
it's
that
good,
right?
just not necessarily
Yeah.
good for books, but just like what we're doing now, you never know it. There's things that are going to be helpful for people down the line. So what are those areas of impact or areas of importance? And so, yeah,
Wow.
I will read the table contents first and get the gist of it. Like here, you'll notice this is, I put it in 3 categories. These are for personal development. This is for a key to growth. And then down here, leading others. So those are the
Wow.
concepts. I've got the concepts of this book. So it's going to be more productive read because I've got it all set up and what the purpose of it is.
Wow. I've never met anyone that's done that before.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, never.
And then, like, if I'm going to quote, I'll literally put a hashtag or a quote point. I'll find you one. Essential keys for unleashing your true potential. Don't you like that language? It's good language. Okay, so for example,
Yeah, yeah,
finding your bliss. So you see here, you can see on my page where I've got these quotes,
yeah.
things. So yeah, that's what I do. So if I have read a book thoroughly, you're going to see handwriting in it.
Wow.
In my
That,
Bible.
I think that's what's so cool about us doing work together because we're so opposite.
Yeah.
You know, we
And
have that
that's the way
common
it's supposed to
core.
be. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I mean, I built my whole business saying I don't quote other people. I don't quote dead people, you know, that you've had enough experiences to to create your own quotes. So I love that balance. That's really cool. I love that balance.
Well, I mean, you don't want to ignore the
Smile.
voice. Yeah, that's all I'm going for. Yeah. So I've heard you say that though. I've heard you say you don't, and I think that's okay on your
Yeah.
talks. But you're not going to have everything in your own experience.
True.
To
No,
be able to
I
share
think
it.
it's great. I think that's great. I've met people who color code their books. You know, like red would mean the passion that's in their that they're highlighting. Green would be for money making. Yellow would be for team building. But I think that, I mean, what I love about what you are doing is that you really and ingrace yourself inside the book, and it actually becomes like it permeates within you. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure your memory of that book is a lot stronger than the ones that I read. You
And
know,
you know what it
I
is?
think that's great.
You know what it is? It's my academic background.
Yes,
I
yes,
started off as a teacher, and
yes,
you want to have things set up so that it's usable, so that you're
yeah,
productive. You
yeah.
don't
I think that's great.
that again, and I understand the brain and how you learn. That's one of my expertise is human development. I understand very much how you learn, and the highest level of learning is teaching. So when I'm
Uh-huh.
reading something, I'm always reading it in with the intent that I'm going to teach it to somebody else. It doesn't even matter
Okay.
whether it's my mom. She and I are sitting on the porch in a rocking chair and we're talking,
Yeah,
or if it's, a professional group of C-level folks.
yeah.
But there's
Cool.
some books that are not, there's a lot of people who have published books, but their content may not be useful or something that I would use. And
Yeah.
sometimes you don't necessarily agree with the concept, so you wouldn't necessarily use it. But I like to listen to everybody and see the way people form their thinking.
Yeah.
You know?
I always like to support local authors also. So this is one of the books, which is of course backwards on here, which is so wonderful. It's called Start Ugly. And this is from my friend Chris Kremitzos. And
Oh yeah, Chris.
yeah, and it's doing very, very well. In fact, he's giving away the Kindle version for free this next week. But the reason that I like this book is you and we meet people that are on their mark, get set, get set, get set. And this book is about staying away from that perfectionism, fear, and just start ugly. And as you start ugly, you're much more of a risk taker. And then the lessons that you learn along the way bring that perfection and consistency. So it's an easy read. It's so interesting. It's very much like guys often write these kinds of books that are storytelling books because they don't want to be told what to do, but they'll read a fairy tale or a parable. and then all of a sudden it makes sense to them. Yeah. So this is similar to like Who Moved My Cheese. It's a story about somebody, but I like this book. And so I have bought several to give to my coaching clients who are sitting on the fence and worried about that they have to have all the information before they get started.
And don't you think that we're really representing what we want our clients to do? We are here in our pajamas making progress,
Yes.
not trying to have everything be perfect. We are going forward with the circumstances that have been dealt to us. The circumstances that have been dealt are we are stuck at home, and we still are called to help people, called to make impact. And that's what we're doing.
Yes.
And we're doing it in our pajamas, folks.
Yep.
So that's what we're doing here. Well, let me tell you about another one of my great books. One of the things that everybody needs to do is to improve your ability to understand personalities and how different people work. So there was a woman that wrote, Florence Littauer wrote a book called Personality Plus. And this is a sequel to that about communication, how to communicate. So I've been reading How to Speak So People Will Listen based on their different personalities. So this is one of them I've had on the shelf for quite a while that I've been wanting to read. And so I'm into this one right now. One of my favorite people on the planet is Stephen Furtick. And he has so many good books. He's a minister. And he's in Charlotte, I believe, North Carolina. And he wrote a book years ago called Sun Stand Still. I've read this before, and I taught a Bible study with it. He's got a whole teaching series of videos and things like that. But this is about being very when you dare these very big things. And we know in the Bible that there was a day that the sun stood still, and that was because there was somebody that prayed that. And so he's talking about that. And so right now there's a lot of us who need that in our lives, and I need that in my life. I need that. I want God to do great things that seem to be impossible, and I want to be positioned to receive that and to walk in that. And so that's what Stephen talks about in this particular book. So that's one of mine. What about you?
I like this one. It's called The Power of Now, and it's by Eckhart Tolle. And I love this because the fact that being a D-type personality, I move fast, I talk fast, I'm a big risk taker. So learning to sit still and be appreciative in the now, this has really helped me find gratitude in the littlest things, like the flowers that are growing in the garden, when I go to Walmart and taking in all those interesting people that are there, the colors on the shelf, anything and everything, just the power of now, of recognizing to be in the moment, which is important with communication, with everything. So this is a good book for me as a reminder to cool my jets, slow down, and be in the now.
Good. Well, do you read books to improve your practice, even though we're both certified coaches and trainers and speakers? Do you read books to continue to improve your craft?
I'll read tidbits, but I am more, I guess I work better with other speakers who are experts in their area, and I would much rather brainstorm. I call it noodle jamming. Brainstorm with speakers in the flesh than read books. So I'm not so much that, but I know that has value. Is that something that you do?
Well, one of the things I get drawn to certain things when I see them. And it's kind of like it sparks some type of interest. And so one of the things that I've worked with athletes. I'm a former athlete. I used to play every kind of sport in the world. And,
I didn't know that. What was your favorite sport?
Well, my favorite was basketball, but I was a better performer in volleyball. I also played volleyball. But that was before the years where soccer was everywhere. So I didn't get a chance to play soccer, but I've done every other sport. And I grew up in a little small town, and so we had the opportunity to play and start in varsity sports in grade 7 because there just
Yeah.
wasn't that many
Wow.
kids.
Yeah,
So
because
I had that opportunity.
That's cool.
Yeah, but anyway, one of the things that I love is I love sports, and unfortunately sports have been removed from our lives right now.
Crazy.
And I love to use sports analogies because it's something that I believe are very representative of the things that we face in life. So I think sports is key. And so anytime I read, I like to get books from coaches and other athletes that are good examples that come into our world to help people in corporate settings and education settings and personal coaching. And this one I've been wanting to read for a while, so I'm starting with this. This is by Brad Gilbert, and he works with and this is called. I bring this up because you just said something about starting ugly with Chris, his book.
Mhm.
The best author, he wrote a book of winning ugly, and it was very similar.
Interesting.
It was an athlete,
Yeah.
but this one's
Wow.
called "I've Got Your Back." So this is working the way that we should be as with coaches, is to make sure that we are right there. We want the success of people that we're working with as much as we want our own success, and we want to give them the idea. And how do we convey that
Yeah.
as people? And I really do believe that coaching is a type of ministry. And how do we really convey that? So I'm reading this to see what Brad does and how he gets this across. But it's something that I understand very much. And I'm writing a book, actually. I'm always writing several different books. I'm writing a book about sports analogies that help us in life.
Interesting.
For example, limiting beliefs. There's stories about athletes that shouldn't be able to have accomplished something, but then they actually did. Like the guy who was the kicker with no toes. Everybody would say, "Oh, So that's what I'm working on. So that's one of the reasons why I read those kinds of books. And there's nothing wrong with starting several books and just having them along, and then as they draw you go into it. I think it helps us with language, improving our communication.
Yes.
Listening to other speakers is definitely a good idea, but reading is also a good idea because it improves your vocabulary. It improves the way that you communicate. And I just love words.
Yeah, I love the power of words.
Yes.
I've got this book from another local speaker. She specializes in credit. And today, with everything that's happening with people worried about where's my paycheck, how am I going to pay my mortgage, unfortunately, somebody has made the credit agencies gods. I never have understood why your credit report has anything to do with how much you're paying for insurance on your home or what your interest rate is on a car. But anyway, I had no idea how they work. And so this is a great book. It's called Credit Intelligence. And I give this to all of my kids to teach, and grandkids, to teach them about how to play the credit game. And, people like, who does financial freedom?
Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey. He talks about
financial peace. Yeah,
financial peace, right. He talks about that we don't need credit, but in reality, if you don't have credit, you can't get credit. You still have to have some sort of proof that you are good at handling your money. So this is a really good book to understand how to manage your credit more effectively and win in that game of credit.
Yeah. Well, and as you know, we're both authors as well. And so sometimes I like to read my own book. Do you do that where you look at your set and you're like, that's really good. Did I write that? That's and so right now I'm doing that with visioneering simply because I'm trying to see I wanted to let it sit and stay away from it for a little bit and then pick it up and see the impression my fresh eyes might get.
That's great.
This is just hot off the presses. And
I need to get one. You need to put one in the mail to me.
Yeah, this is the thing. I just finished it. I was going to give it to everybody in Business Network City Life. I had ordered enough of them so I could give these away to you guys.
Yeah. What happened?
Because Corona, that's what happened. Corona happened. And so, but I ended up putting a guy on the front because, I love working with men, but a lot of times when men see a women author, they think it's all just for women.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not. This is about realizing your vision, your real heart's desire, and then going for it and giving you the strategies. Now, you and I are going to work on a book about self leadership. One of the chapters that I've got in here is about transformative self leadership, what you do to move yourself forward, because you're the results coach and I'm the transformation one. And so I think that that is what we need to do when we're working with these folks, especially within the Christian executive women environment. That's going to be amazing for them.
Okay. I'm up for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll do that. That'll be something hot off the presses. I think we should always be reading something, several things. And I think we should always be writing something. So I'm interested in seeing what our audience is reading and what you're writing, and to come to our Facebook page.
Yes.
As you see, we're in pajamas, so come to our Facebook page and join Progress in Pajamas. And that's part of a greater community, ChristianExecutiveWomen.com. And our website is very rough right now because we're just getting started. Corona sort of catapulted us further. And so we want you all to tell us what you're reading and what you're writing.
And I think it's important for those people who go, well, I'm not going to write because I'm not going to write a book, or I don't have anything important to say. The best thing you can do is get a beautiful blank, I don't care if it's a spiral notebook or if you're going to invest in something that's leather, and journal. Journaling is a wonderful way to start recognizing how you feel about things, supporting other people with your wisdom. So journal, and that's something that you also sleep better when you journal. You can capture your bright ideas when you journal. So journaling, you don't have to be an author, you don't have to write a book, but you need to be writing literally every day.
And I have all those beautiful journals too, but I also have these things. I've probably got 50 of these partially written in, and this is really good just to put all your ideas.
Yes.
So I look forward to it. Well, I have enjoyed this time talking about the importance of growth through reading and through writing, and I always like to see what you're doing. So, and I always like to see what everybody else is doing. So you guys jump on our Facebook, Progress in Pajamas, and we will also have ChristianExecutiveWomen.com, and we want to hear what you're doing. Thanks for spending this time with us, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.